Okay, so let's dive in. What if the way we usually think about being rich, just the dollars and cents is, well, only telling us half the story?
Hmm.
Today, we're digging into a really fascinating, much broader perspective on wealth, and this was actually sparked by some really compelling material you shared with us.
Exactly. We're looking beyond just the balance sheet here. This whole exploration, it's about recognizing that true wealth is a much richer blend of things. Yes, security is definitely part of
For
it,
sure, security matters.
but so is having genuine control over your life, and building lasting value in ways that really go far beyond just money.
Right. Think of it as maybe a more complete picture of what it means to truly thrive.
Yeah.
Our goal in this deep dive is to really unpack those core ideas, the sort of fundamental pieces that contribute to this more, let's say, holistic sense of wealth.
Hmm.
We're aiming for those moments where things just click,
Yeah.
and maybe you see your own life in a bit of a new light.
And what's so interesting in the source material is this recurring image. Wealth as a complex, almost beautiful tapestry.
Oh, I like that. A tapestry.
Yeah, it's not just one shiny thread, right? It's the strength and the beauty that comes from weaving together lots of different kinds of threads.
That makes perfect sense. So it's not just about, like, the gold thread of finances, is it?
Not at all.
There are all these other vital strands that make the whole thing resilient and vibrant. The source even talks about harvesting value from every facet of life. That really made me stop and think, where do we find richness day to day?
Precisely. It suggests that we can actively cultivate value or maybe find value in areas we might typically overlook if we're just focused on, well, the monetary measures of success.
Right.
And it raises a really crucial point about purpose. The source likens having immense resources without a clear sense of purpose to like a lantern with no flame.
Huh. Present, maybe impressive looking.
Yeah, impressive, but ultimately not fulfilling its potential, not giving light.
So if it's not just about the money, what are the essential elements then? The source seems to outline this core balance, this kind of harmony of different aspects. What are those key areas?
So the source identifies this powerful quartet, you could say.
Yeah.
It's mental serenity, physical vigor, financial dexterity, and societal resonance.
Okay, serenity, vigor, dexterity, resonance. Quite a combo.
It is, and it's the synergy, the way these four areas interact and really support each other, that truly defines this comprehensive state of wealth.
Okay, let's delve into these foundational pillars, starting with fiscal mastery. Now, that still sounds like it involved finances, right?
It certainly does.
But how is it different from just being rich?
Well, it includes the financial dimension, definitely, but it shifts the emphasis quite a bit. Fiscal mastery, according to the source, isn't primarily about just amassing huge fortunes.
Yeah.
Instead, it's more about cultivating discipline, developing a clear financial strategy, and crucially, deeply understanding the purpose behind your financial decisions.
The purpose again. And the source uses this really compelling analogy, doesn't it? The seasoned chess player.
Yes.
It immediately made me think of someone who's like strategic,
Yeah.
thinking several moves ahead, not just grabbing whatever piece is closest.
That captures the essence perfectly. It's
Yeah.
about being deliberate, thoughtful in your financial dealings, knowing when to be assertive, maybe, and when to exercise patience.
Mm-hmm.
And it underscores this idea of making your resources matter more. It's not just the sheer volume you have,
Right.
but their effectiveness, the impact they actually create in your life.
And then it brings in this concept of stewardship as the crown jewel. That's a really evocative image. It
Yeah.
feels like responsibility, like you're a careful manager, not just an owner.
Exactly. It shifts our thinking from simple possession to a more active role, right? Responsible management, cultivation. The ultimate aim, as the source puts it, is to rule over your coins lest they be ruled by them.
Powerful. Being firmly in control.
Yeah. Using finance as a tool to support your bigger goals, not being controlled by it.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Mental sovereignty. This sounds incredibly important. It's about the power and control of our minds, isn't it?
Absolutely. The source really stresses the need for our intellect to be continuously fortified
Fortified? How?
through a commitment to lifelong learning. It beautifully describes knowledge as an unseen currency.
Unseen currency. I like that.
Yeah, it serves as a fundamental basis for, well, really all forms of success and well-being. Just think about how learning a new skill or gaining new understanding can open up completely new paths and opportunities.
That really hits home, doesn't it? You can lose material things, but your knowledge, your skills, they tend to stick around.
They do.
And the source highlights things like clarity of thought, resilience in the face of chaos, and the audacity to dream past limitations. It's a potent mix of mental attributes.
It really is. These are presented as the defining characteristics of what the source calls cognitive affluence.
Cognitive affluence.
Yeah, it's about having a sharp, adaptable mind that can effectively navigate challenges and creatively envision future possibilities. Imagine the freedom that comes from knowing you can probably think your way through almost any situation.
Okay, so that's mental sovereignty. The third pillar is physical vitality. This might seem straightforward health, right? But the source frames it in a really compelling way.
It does. It positions the body as the indispensable vessel that carries us through our entire life.
The vessel. Okay.
And it emphasizes the crucial need for it to be nurtured, energized, and preserved. It also poignantly refers to health as a silent fortune.
A silent fortune. That's so true.
Yeah.
You often don't appreciate it until it's, well, compromised.
Exactly. Its value becomes crystal clear then.
And it draws a direct line between our physical state and our mental state, saying a robust body fuels a resilient spirit. That really highlights how connected all these different aspects of wealth truly are.
Precisely.
Yeah.
These aren't just separate boxes, you know? They're deeply intertwined. Taking care of your physical health gives you a vital foundation for your mental and emotional resilience.
Right.
It lets you engage more fully with everything else that makes up a rich life.
Now let's shift to the second set of pillars. We start with social capital. This is all about relationships, the strength and quality of them, right?
Exactly that. The source describes our networks, our alliances, as invisible assets.
Invisible assets. Like, they're valuable, but you can't see them on a spreadsheet.
Pretty much. While they're not tangible like money or property, they possess immense value in, say, amplifying our achievements and fostering essential things like trust, a good reputation, mutual support.
Yeah, reciprocity. And it even calls these connections currencies in their own right, suggesting they can sometimes be more potent than gold. That really makes you pause and think about the actual worth of genuine supportive relationships in our lives.
It really does.
Right.
Strong social connections can unlock opportunities you wouldn't otherwise have, provide absolutely crucial support during tough times,
Definitely.
and create that sense of belonging, of shared purpose that, frankly, mere financial wealth just can't replicate on its own.
Yeah.
Think about a strong professional network or just the comfort of really close friends.
Absolutely. Okay, the final pillar in this main group is temporal dominion. I love that phrase, temporal dominion. It sounds like having real control. It's about a relationship with time, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. It's about recognizing that wealth isn't just about accumulating money, but also about managing that incredibly precious and very finite resource,
Right?
time.
Time runs out.
It does. So temporal dominion is about having mastery over your hours and days,
Right.
experiencing freedom from that constant pressure, that urgency.
The feeling of always rushing.
Yeah. And possessing the ability, the luxury really, to choose how you invest your time.
The source has a really impactful line here. Time mismanaged is opportunity exiled. Oof, that one resonates.
It does, doesn't it?
We can often recover from financial mistakes.
Yeah.
Maybe earn money back, but lost time. That's gone forever.
Precisely. True wealth, in this context, is about commanding your moments with intention.
Commanding your moments.
Yeah, rather than feeling like you're constantly being pushed around by external demands or just rushing from one thing to the next without thought. It's about consciously deciding how you spend your most valuable, non-renewable resource.
Okay, so we've explored that core equilibrium, mental, physical, financial, social, and this idea of temporal dominion. Now, the source digs into what it calls deeper dimensions of wealth. This feels like where it moves beyond the more obvious aspects. Let's
Yeah.
start with spiritual anchoring.
Right. This dimension takes us beyond the material, beyond the intellectual realms. It focuses on what the source calls the spiritual axis.
It's a spiritual axis.
Yeah, encompassing things like faith or a strong sense of purpose, inner harmony. It's presented as a fundamental, unyielding compass, something that provides direction and stability, especially when life throws storms your way.
An unyielding compass. And it's described as the quiet throne of true wealth. That's such a powerful metaphor. It suggests this inner strength, this peace that underpins everything else.
It really does. And the source offers this very poignant observation. One who possesses everything but lacks peace is no wealthier than a pauper lost in thought.
Wow. That hits hard.
It beautifully captures the idea that all the external stuff, the abundance, is ultimately pretty meaningless without a sense of inner peace, without a clear understanding of what truly gives your life meaning. This spiritual anchor provides, like, deep resilience when things get tough.
Okay. The next deeper dimension mentioned is legacy and continuity. This is about the impact we have that sort of extends beyond our own lifespan, right?
Exactly. The source suggests that wealth reaches its most profound level when it's perpetuated, when a life actively sows seeds in others.
Sows seeds in others.
Yeah, and continues to generate positive effects over time.
Yeah.
Think about the influence of great mentors or the lasting impact of truly innovative ideas.
It emphasizes that the legacy we leave, maybe it's wisdom, maybe it's acts of kindness, meaningful innovations, that's the final metric of one's richness. It's not just about what we pile up for ourselves,
Right.
but what we contribute to the wider world.
It's about building something that has the potential to outlast us, ensuring our positive influence, whatever it is, continues to ripple outwards even after we're gone.
Makes sense. Okay, third deeper dimension, emotional intelligence. Now, this is a concept we hear about quite a bit, but the source specifically puts it within this larger frame of wealth.
It does. It argues that the ability to first understand and manage our own emotions and then effectively navigate the emotions of others is absolutely key to effective action and long-term well-being.
So not being driven by impulse.
Exactly. Wealthy individuals, in this broader sense, are guided by insight and understanding, not just impulsive reactions. The source highlights crucial skills like empathetic listening, clear communication, resolving conflicts constructively.
Essential life skills, really.
Right.
And it calls emotional intelligence the golden thread that weaves together successful relationships and good decisions. And also the rarest coin that builds trust. That's a powerful way to think about it. Like, it's this incredibly valuable asset in every single area of life.
Absolutely. It underscores how these emotional skills are fundamental for building strong, lasting relationships, making well-considered judgments, navigating the complexities of just human interaction, all essential for a truly rich and fulfilling life.
Okay, the next dimension is curiosity and creative fire.
Ooh.
I really love this one. It speaks to the importance of keeping an active, engaged mind.
Yes. The source describes a wealthy mind as one that's never static. It's fueled by this insatiable urge to uncover, create, and reimagine.
Never static. I like that.
It points out that genuine innovation, progress, it often stems from a kind of healthy dissatisfaction with the status quo, a desire to explore new possibilities, push boundaries.
It says, true wealth breeds through art, invention, and the courage to question the ordinary. That's so inspiring. It links wealth not just to, material gain, but to these very human acts of creation and exploration.
Exactly.
And that line, where curiosity goes, prosperity often follows, that's fantastic.
It really highlights the idea that a curious, creative mindset is constantly seeking new avenues for growth, for discovery. And that can ultimately lead to all sorts of enrichment and opportunity, personal, maybe even financial down the line.
Okay, finally, the last of these deeper dimensions, environmental synergy. This feels like a really relevant and forward-thinking aspect of wealth today.
I agree. The source argues that truly wealthy individuals recognize their interconnectedness with the natural world. They act as responsible stewards of the earth.
Stewards again. That word keeps coming up.
It does. Instead of just seeking to exploit resources, they focus on stewardship. It emphasizes the inherent value in living in harmony with nature, adopting sustainable practices, making ethical choices that benefit, us now, future generations, and the environment itself.
It poses that really tough question. What good is gold if the ground beneath you turns to ash?
Yeah.
It powerfully reminds us that our well-being, our wealth in the truest sense, is fundamentally linked to the health of the planet we live on.
It shifts the perspective from a purely transactional view, what can I get from the earth, to one of mutual flourishing long-term sustainability. It suggests a truly rich life acknowledges and respects our dependence on a thriving natural world.
Wow. Okay, this has really, really expanded my understanding of wealth. It's clearly so much more than just the numbers in a bank account.
Absolutely.
The source concludes by describing wealth as an ever-evolving odyssey and an ongoing alchemy. Can you elaborate on that a bit? What does that mean, alchemy?
Well, it emphasizes that wealth isn't some fixed state you just achieve and then you're done. It's a continuous process, right?
Yeah.
Learning, growing, transforming throughout your life. The alchemy part refers to the way we can sort of transform our experiences, the tangible stuff and the intangible stuff, into a richer, more meaningful existence, like turning lead into gold,
Yeah.
but for your life.
Okay, transforming experiences. And it talks about the interweaving of assets seen and unseen, merging temporal riches with eternal values. It feels like it's about creating a lasting impact that goes beyond just our immediate situation.
Mm-hmm.
And this concept of cultivating enduring luminance rather than just fleeting brilliance, that really strikes a chord.
It speaks to a deeper, more sustainable sense of fulfillment, doesn't it? One that comes from nurturing all these different dimensions of wealth, not just chasing superficial or temporary wins.
The source ends with this really profound thought. Rightly grasped, wealth is to be harbored wisely as a force for upliftment and illumination. So it's not just about personal gain,
Not at all.
but about using whatever resources we have, and resources in that broad sense we've been discussing, to contribute positively, to lift others up, to bring light.
Exactly.
And the ultimate measure of richness isn't just what can be counted, but what is deeply felt, generously shared, and fondly remembered. That's truly powerful.
It is. It really reframes wealth, doesn't it? Sees it as this dynamic force with the potential to create positive change and leave a genuinely meaningful, lasting legacy.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given us, and hopefully you, a lot to consider. The core message feels so clear. Wealth is this vastly more expansive, more enriching concept than just money. It's built on this incredible foundation of diverse pillars, these interconnected dimensions. So for you, our listener, as you reflect on this bigger picture of a rich life, maybe ask yourself, how might this influence your own priorities, the actions you take?
Yeah, what shifts?
What is maybe one of those unseen assets we talked about? Could be your mental clarity, a key relationship, your physical well-being, even your sense of purpose. What's one thing you feel inspired to maybe cultivate more intentionally starting today?
That's the crucial question to take away, I think. It's about spotting those often overlooked areas that really contribute to this broader sense of wealth, and then actively deciding to nurture them in your own life.
Thank you so much for sharing this truly insightful source with us. This has been a genuinely enriching exploration for me.
Me too. Great stuff to think about.
And to all of you listening, we really encourage you to think about what other fascinating topics, what other sources you'd like us to unpack in future deep dives. Let us know.